A poet in paradise at the Robert Frost Trail writing peacefully in the morning. Wait, a museum based all on picture book art? A bookish museum? Oh, wait, let's get back to where we started. When you're pet sitting in a cat family, this is often how the day starts. Welcome to house sitting in beautiful Amherst, Massachusetts. Here we go. You can't tell, but I brushed my hair a little bit for y'all, but I realized as I'm vlogging, I need to tell the whole story. So the whole story was yesterday hit a block. I'm still working through it. So it'll be interesting to see what the words hold for me today. So back to work. I feel like I've been awake for a long time, probably because I have. But I'm going to set up to write in here. This is my bedroom, also known as the nest. It has a really pretty view out this window that I like a lot. And I just think it will be better for me, especially after the block yesterday. And I'm close to figuring out a good deal of how and why the block happened. And that's really important as a writer and as a creative. I didn't know what to expect when I got to the state park, but the green was so evident everywhere. This is the Mount Holyoke Range State Park, which includes the Notch Visitor Center. I really enjoyed what they offered here. Imagine my delight to discover they have a whole section on writing haiku. Seriously? Did they make this just for me? I was the only person there on this weekday morning, but there was a lot to learn, and the grounds themselves were beautiful and clean and had lots to examine and lots to engage with. I was very, very impressed. This is how any visitor center ought to do their best to be. The intellectual curiosity could be spiked no matter what your interest was. Naturally, I wanted to do some writing, but I also wanted to get out on the trail, specifically the Robert Frost Trail in another location. I was absolutely blown away by the Carle Museum of Picture Book Art. Even the restroom was filled with artwork and astonished me with what I was seeing. I couldn't believe it. This is some 3D art to bring alive Carle's vision. You might be able to recognize some of these are some pictures from his book, The Pancake Book, when it was first published, and he was a new artist, not as well known. And then as he continued on his career, he was able to use more expensive tools. Look at the differences in the paint. Wow. As a writer and artist myself, I love seeing works in progress. I love seeing how artists develop and learn and experiment. And this museum showed us all of that. And guess what else? The museum's curators also allow us to see the work of other picture book artists. I particularly loved this book about finding friends within the pages of a book. I don't have any video, but there was also a section about the front pages and back pages of books. And there's even an outdoor area. This at one time was an apple. I love spending time out there, and there's even some wildflowers growing, native wildflowers growing on the perimeter. What a sensory delight that was. I was even getting very inspired by the creativity, so I did some unusual photography of an apple with a bee. I thought it made sense. A copy of The Very Hungry Caterpillar is sold every 30 seconds across the world. It has been translated into 60 languages. Oh, and I think you know her. I think so. They even have an art studio where visitors can make their own art inspired by the work of Carle. Now, I am no Carle, but even I had fun playing around with what they had there. This was specifically a one-page story, and I won't tell you what it was about. I don't think I did a very good job, but it was still a whole lot of fun. And look how festive the studio is. There is just a feast for the eyes, and I even enjoyed listening into the conversations that were going around me. This is an area for students to listen to stories and more about Grace Lynn, incredible artist. I have had an absolutely fantastic day today, and I'm really tired. I still have one more phone call to talk to a writing friend, and then I have a Zoom tonight. So when I'm house sitting or on the road doing my Nomad thing, I do Zoom differently. This is on my iPad. It's not optimal, but it works. So I used this for the entire month of last April, and it worked okay. It was Zoomed almost every day. We do what we have to do. And look how it moves with me. I think it's kind of fun. Well, now it's not doing it. Anyway, this is Julie Zooming on Friday night. I know how to live it up. My favorite AT through hiker vloggers, that's a mouthful, and their vlogs every day, sharing what I call grace, grit, and grow. Grace is the gratitude part. And so the grace I experienced today, it was just like one thing after another. And so I just have to say, I'll have to do a hyphenated one. It was the Robert Frost Trail - Eric Carle Museum. Two totally different experiences and both absolutely mind-bogglingly wonderful. What you didn't see was that while I was on the Robert Frost Trail, my grandbaby FaceTimed me. So we got to walk the trail a little bit and chat, and it's always so great to catch up with her. The grit today is that the sun didn't come out till really late. It has been raining since I've been here. This is my first sunny day, and it didn't even get sunny until late afternoon. And while I got to the house, clouds descended again. Anyway, that was pretty gritty. And growth? My growth edge goes to the book that I'm reading. I am reading Braving the Wilderness. It's a study I'm doing because I read it 2 years ago after my mom died. And I read it, but I didn't retain much. And I know there's a lot of good stuff in there for me to learn. So today's reading, we talked about High Lonesome, which is a type of music that turned into bluegrass. And it's indicative of a spiritual crisis, thick with misery and also with redemption. And a quote in there that from the book says, "Art has the power to render sorrow beautiful." And I thought about the first time that I did a poetry performance that really got lots of compliments, was a poem I wrote after my friend Tom died. And I realized I do not have a copy of that poem, so my growth will be to find a copy. I know I have one. I think from my old blog, it's there. Because I would love to look over that poem and perhaps perform it again. And leading into the whole theater performance aspect of my life that has kind of been absent, I think I'm ready for that again. So, pretty good. Grace, grit, and grow for today. This will be the first vlog with that component, and I'm glad that I thought of it. So, thanks for watching. I'm so grateful you got to the end. If you did get to the end, I would love for you to put in the comments something about gratitude or grace, or grit, or growth. It's also very, very late, later than my usual bedtime. So I apologize. I needed to shower because tomorrow's another big day, and one of my longtime friends will be with me. So I didn't want to do that tomorrow morning because the day's gonna be like out like a cannon. Sweet dreams, my friends.